Welcome here on the Reflector podcast. This is a place of sharing where we widen our horizon and embrace together the beauty, the magic, and the mystery of life. It is a space where we can go deeper into the unknown and become the change we want to see in this world. This podcast is an invitation to embark on a journey of self-discovery and embody fully in all ourselves what it truly means to be human. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you for listening. Let's dive together. Welcome everybody on this new episode of the Reflector podcast. Very happy to meet you again, and we are in the frame of this series on the healing of traumas and the nervous system. So the episode today, we will describe in details the three main stages, landscapes we could say, of the nervous system. And you might want to listen to the previous episode on the series of the healing of trauma and nervous system. If you want to better understand the approach and my work on this subject, but you don't have to. If you want to dig deeper, you might want to listen to them, but you will understand everything I'm saying today. And the idea today is that we will present a map, like a territory of the nervous system, and better understand the different qualities of those three landscapes, because they are like biological landscape that we can recognize through the rhythm of breathing, the heartbeat. There are many signs to recognize those landscape on the physical level. But there are also landscapes that will open up a different kind of mood, a different kind of like a panel of emotions. And this landscape will also open up to different kinds of belief and different kinds of behaviors. And I found it very important to understand those different landscapes of the nervous system, because they are at the root of the trauma. The nervous system, the definition of a trauma is actually a way the nervous system reacted to a certain situation or an event. So we will describe in later episode exactly what we call trauma and how those three parts of the nervous system, they are involved in the traumatic reaction. Okay, but today we want to really explain those three stages and explain the qualities, the nature of those landscapes. And the intention here is that if you understand those landscapes, you have an awareness of which landscape you find yourself into, which state your nervous system is into. Then through the awareness of this state, the first thing is that when you know it's there, it's a biological response. It's part of your body, it's part of your biology, then it reduces a lot the self-sabotage patterns, the self-sabotaging patterns, the self-judgment, all the negative beliefs and judgment you can have on yourselves can diminish a lot, because you recognize, okay, this is the biological state I'm in, so this is the kind of emotion I can have. This is how the elements are moving within my body. Is it more water? Is it more fire? Is it more air? And then you understand, okay, that's part of my nervous system. It will change. And I know also I can have very precise tools to make it change. So you see, it creates a bridge between our conscious mind and our unconscious mind, which is ruled by the autonomic nervous system. When I say autonomic nervous system, that means it's beyond our will, beyond our consciousness. So when we start to be aware of this unconscious functioning, this part of us that function without our awareness, when we start to be aware of that, which is automatic, then we create a connection between the two. And this automatically start to change the geometry, like the constellation within ourselves, and we have access to different parts of the nervous system, because you cannot separate awareness and the nervous system. What gives us awareness is the nervous system itself. So we are just in the beginning of starting to understand, as Western science, what the yogis understood thousands of years ago about the interaction of those different parts of our being, the different parts of this biology that is at the root of our being. Okay, so this is the idea today, that we can create those bridges between Eastern philosophies and practices and Western sciences, especially neurosciences. And part of the theory I will present today is the work done by somebody who's called Stephen Porges, and the theory is called the Polyvagal theory. So you can search online, you have a lot of explanation and videos about this. So you can study that deeper. So this polyvagal theory talks about three main stages of the nervous system. And the first one, we talked about it already in the previous episode, is the social mode. Like the secure mode is the mode when we feel at home within our body. That means we are completely embodied, we can feel our physical body. We call it the ventral vagal. So vagus nerve is the main nerve of the parasympathetic nervous system. So that's the part of the nervous system that relaxes us and allows us to digest. And the vagus nerve is this main nerve that goes from the cranium to down to the digestive organ, down even to the sexual organs. It's a very, very long nerve in the body. And there are two parts of it that we will call one ventral vagal and one dorsal vagal. And these are two terms. It's a little tricky because that doesn't mean one is in the back and one is in the front. That doesn't mean that. That just means that the ventral vagal starts in front from the cranium and the dorsal vagal starts in the back. But we will explain that later, don't worry. So the first stage of the nervous system is this secure mode when we feel at home within our body, and we call it also the social mode, because that's the mode when we can enter in relationship with the outside world, we can enter in relationship with other people, we can share, communicate, we can have empathy, we can have compassion, love, joy, we can welcome freely a point of view that is, or a belief system that is different than our belief system, without taking it as something that is a threat to our being. We can engage socially, we can smile. So that's the mode where we feel secure at home, free somehow, free to engage, to share. And this is the ventral vagal, okay? And it's mainly operating from the diaphragm up. So it's governing the heart, the lungs, the neck. So it has a lot to do with communication. Also, all the movement of your faces will be governed by this part of the nervous system. The intonation of your voice, the harmony of the notes in your voice, the intensity and the change of spectrum of rhythm and harmony of the voice will be generated and governed by this part of the autonomic nervous system. So it gives you a capacity to really adapt to any situation, to engage and relate in such a way that it's very interesting. When we are in this ventral vagal, sorry, what happens is our breathing is deep. It's like the breath is free. And what is very interesting is they found out that when we are in this part of the nervous system, our heartbeats is regulating itself according to different situations. So there is a huge capacity of adaptation. We regulate ourselves according to the circumstances. And this regulation of the heartbeat, the heart is like the beat of the heart is a prakriti, is the pulse of our being, is our Shabbat, it gives us the quality. Each beat of the heart is like imprinting the quality of the soul within the whole blood flow. So when the heartbeats can start to regulate according to a situation, that means your soul is kind of free and it's breathing and it's moving and it's adapting. Your aura can change shape, it can change color, it can start to adapt according to the aura of the other person around you. So when you are in a ventral vagal, you have this capacity to regulate, and that is what we called the self-sensory system. That's when we can sense how other people, the surroundings, the environment, the nature is impacting ourselves, how the resonance of the outside is appearing within our own self. So you understand, this part of the vagus nerve is the part we want to live in, this part most of our life. Because without this part activating, forget about spiritual connections, connection to your deepest part of yourself, to the soul. Forget about deep connection with others. Forget about sharing authenticity, love. Forget about all that. But when it's activated, you have this capacity to learn and to integrate new information and to feel really alive, to feel in a movement, to feel connected to the unknown. So that's ventral vagal. So that's one part of the parasympathetic nervous system, one part of the vagus nerve. Okay. Then we talked about it also in the previous videos. When you start to have a threat, so for example, when the antelope is in the savannah or the jungle, whatever, she's eating some grass, she's relaxed. She's in the ventral vagal, you could say, whatever. She's in a mode of relaxation, digestion. She's enjoying the sun and the grass. But as soon as there will be some kind of noise in the background or whatever, the sympathetic part of the nervous system will activate. So she can be more, she has more acute senses like hearing, sight, smell. The sympathetic part, the active part, the accelerating part of the nervous system, the awakening part of the nervous system will activate, so she can receive the signals, very clearly the signals of a potential threat. And if it happens that there is a lion somewhere or a tiger or whatever, then this sympathetic nervous system, it will allow the antelope to fight or to flight. That means she will have the capacity to run as fast as possible, or she will have the capacity, if needed, to fight the lion. Okay, so this is the part of the nervous system when it's activated, is because we are in a state of danger, moderate, we could say, danger. Okay, so first state, the ventral vagal, we are in secure mode, social interaction. The second mode, sympathetic nervous system, we are activated, we are in a state of potential danger, and we need to be able to respond very efficiently to this threat, to this potential danger. Okay, so that's the second stage of the nervous system. And the third stage of the nervous system is like, if the lion start to run and run, the antelope will run also as fast as possible. But at some point, if she start to feel that the lion starts to win somehow, then she will feel really the potential of death. Like it's when it's a life and death situation. So the third landscape is life and death situation, like you're almost ready to die. Then the antelope will activate automatically a third stage of the nervous system that is not fight or flight, but it is freeze. And the freeze is like instantly she will, like she's dead, she will collapse, she will fall on the floor, and she will be like she's dead. And you see, these are different adaptation to different environments, or different situations. So when it's not possible through the sympathetic system to fight or flight, the antelope will freeze and she will shut down. And what will happen is a survival mode. It's you could say the ultimate survival. It's like the antelope will biologically pretend she's dead. And what it will create is the lion. If you understand the neuroception, is that the nervous system of the lion will feel that, okay, when he's in relation with the nervous system of the antelope, that she's dead. So the first thing he will do is it will feel for him in his instincts that it's a dead body. That's the first thing. So he might not want to eat it. Second thing is, if the lion is exhausted and he sees that the antelope is dead, he might want to rest a little bit and release the extra energy that was stimulated through the run. Okay, and so he will maybe relax and say, okay, I have plenty of time now. And when he starts to relax, then the antelope instantly can shake and run again. And then she has a second chance to survive. So you see, these are different steps of the nervous system, different steps of adaptation to three different situations. The first is everything is secure. The second is, there is a potential danger there. And the third is, it's a life and death situation. So you see, three environments, three situations, three different responses, adaptations of our autonomic nervous system. Okay? When I am in the ventral vagal, I am secure. The environment is secure. I can exchange, share, be in a social mode. When there is a danger, I start to activate the sympathetic part of the nervous system and I fight or flight. Okay, I will compute everything in the outside as it is a threat. So you understand, when you are in this state, you analyze everything as a threat. That means you will not engage in a relaxed mode, in a secure mode. What you will see is that even though the person in front of you is smiling, you might even see that believe that the person is angry, because every eye in the corner, you will compute it very fast to say, okay, maybe there is a danger there. So when this nervous system in this mode you want to find the danger as fast as possible. So your brain is computing and projecting a potential threat. He wants to protect. So he's in a protective mode. He's not in an open receiving mode. The receptive self is locked when you are in sympathetic. You are in action mode to fight the best you can to a danger. Okay? So a lot of fire is generated within your own system. The adrenal gland secretes, the cortisol is secreted, the blood flow is increased, the heartbeat is increased. So when you are in this mode, you remember in the ventral vagal, the heartbeat could regulate itself according to the environment. When we are in this sympathetic mode, the heartbeat runs faster, your cheek gets red, you might sweat. All the energy is going from the center of your body to the periphery of your body. Okay? So it can nourish the muscles, the blood can nourish the muscles, and you can activate all your fighting and flighting capacity. Okay? So this you can recognize very easily. When you start to have your heartbeat that goes faster, you can start to feel hot, warm. That's the fire of action of the sympathetic, the resources of the sympathetic that activates all your body, all the reserves of your body, like the soma, everything that built up your reserve of food, your whatever was there, like is put into circulation in your bloodstream so you can run or fight. Okay, So this is a mode where Agni is stimulated in such a way that he brings the energy from the center of the body to the periphery of the body. That's Vyana Vayu, when you see it from the winds in Ayurveda, it's Samana Vayu is the wind that brings everything to the center, and Vyana Vayu is the wind that brings everything to the periphery. So this is what happens when you go in sympathetic mode, everything goes to the periphery. And what that means is there is no energy in the center of your being. That means in the digestive tract, in the digestive system, this is off. You are for action only. So if this part of the nervous system is always activated, you cannot have a proper digestion. You will not digest well. The intestine, the movement, the bowel movement, the movement of the small intestines, the whole digestive process will not happen in an efficient manner. So everything any food that you get will be badly digested and will create a lot of toxin, ama, in the system. When food is digested correctly, it creates nectar, amrit. It creates soma, we call it in the yogic sciences, soma. When you can digest properly, you create soma, the nectar. And this nectar then you can share, through the ventral vagal when you interact with people, through your heart. This is what you have to share, the nectar of your own digestion of life. When you're in sympathetic mode, you don't digest. You protect yourself. So you close yourself and it's like all the energy goes to the periphery of your being to protect yourself so that your muscles protect you. The muscles, they are there to protect the bones and to protect basically our nervous system, no? So this is really the action mode of the being. So you cannot relax. If you're always in the sympathetic mode, you will find yourself that maybe you have a bad sleep, maybe you have almost insomnia, you're always activated, the mind is very active. We will go into that in more details, but that's the second part of the nervous system, sympathetic part. You react to a potential danger. Then the third part, the collapse part, the shutdown part, this is the second branch of the parasympathetic nervous system. So that's the second part of the vagal nerve, the vagus nerve. That's the dorsal vagal. So remember, the security, the feel at peace, at home mode was the ventral vagal. Now the shutdown part, the collapse, the freeze mode of it's connected. It's part of the parasympathetic nervous system. It's part of the vagus nerve, but it's the dorsal vagus. And when this dorsal vagus is activated, that's when you completely shut down. It's like you get out of your body, like your pranic body or your energy body is getting separated in some way from the physical self. So that's a way you protect to something that is extremely painful. So that's why we'll go in details with that about trauma, because when we have very, very traumatic events, what happens is part of the energy body, the prana, is getting to standby mode. It's like a part of you is dead. So in some of the shamanic tradition, they say, they almost say you lost a part of your soul, because that's part of a life that was in your physical body that gets out. It's like suspended in time until you can reconnect back this part. And that's the healing of trauma, is when you can actually recover this part, reconnect to this part that went into standby mode. Okay, so what happens is this third part of the nervous system is called the dorsal vagal, and it shuts down. And the dorsal vagal is like it is like the ventral vagal was diaphragm up. This one is diaphragm down. So it regulates more of the digestion process. So when you are in a secure mode, that means the ventral vagal, then your ventral vagal will control your dorsal vagal. So he will be in charge. So that means from this ventral vagal, this part of your nervous system will also control the what is under the diaphragm, which means your digestive processes. But when the dorsal vagal is activated because it is a life and death situation, then it will completely shut down the system, and you don't have any more access to either the ventral vagal or to the sympathetic mode, action mode. Okay, so you have to understand these are 3 stages, and you cannot be in those stages together. It's one or the other. Okay, and they have a hierarchy. That means if you find yourself in the dorsal vagal, which is like the oldest one in the history of evolution, it is said that we share it with the snakes, the reptilians. But a lot of these theory about the nervous system and the evolution is also evolving, and the parts of the brain. So it's not so category, but you could say it's the oldest part of the nervous system. And if you want to come from the ventral vagal into from the dorsal vagal, that means shut down, immobilization, freeze. If you want to go to this extreme part that was responding to life and death situation, and you want to find yourself back into the secure mode, you need to go through the sympathetic mode. And then from the sympathetic mode, move back to the ventral vagal. So you see, when you're freezed, you need to go to the fight and flight so you can go to the secure social mode. Okay? You cannot move from the dorsal vagal directly to the ventral vagal. Okay? So this is important to recognize this dorsal vagal, because when it activates, you can feel when the pranic body and the physical body, they are separated, you feel numb. You cannot feel anything anymore. It's like you feel empty. You can feel very depressed. When we're talking about the heartbeat, then this is the time when the heartbeat will slow down. Because it's like your body is still alive, but it's almost like it is dead. So you feel dead. You want to isolate yourself. You don't want to see anybody. You might feel like lethargic also. Like it doesn't mean that you will sleep a lot. You might also have sleeping problems. But for sure, you will not want to interact with people, because that's the ventral vagal. And when you are in the dorsal, you don't have the energy to interact. So if you want to have images, it's like this part of the nervous system is like a turtle when the arms and legs and the head of the turtle goes back into the inside of the turtle, inside of the bone of the turtle. I don't know how you call it, the bone of the turtle, but whatever. But when she goes inside and she doesn't want to go out anymore. Okay? And so when you find yourself, this is like the turtle mode. When you find yourself in the sympathetic mode, the action mode of the nervous system is like the shark. You can be fast, you can attack somebody almost for no reason, you can be very angry. A lot of the emotion of the sympathetic mode will be the fiery emotion. You can find jealousy, like a lot of anger. You can have frustration. You completely lose your patience. You're very you can like your nerves are very itchy. You react very, very fast to any situation. When you are in the dorsal vagal, in the third state of freeze, you don't even react anymore because you don't feel. It's really a state of collapse. Like you have no spine anymore. Okay? So it's like the fire is completely cooled down. You cannot find the fire anymore. Okay? It's like you lost the fire in your being. Life is gone. Okay? So you can recognize, you see those 3 steps very connected to 3 different situations and 3 different landscape, okay? And what is important to know is that you don't need to have gone through a actual life and death situation for your dorsal vagus to be activated, because we hold some memories in our nervous system and the memories of our ancestors, and sometimes we reacted in such a way that we shut down, even though we would not have died from the situation, but that's how our nervous system reacted to the situation. He felt like it was a life and death situation because the memory that he held from also previous experience, maybe in the bloodline or whatever, then your nervous system reacted like if it was a life and death situation when it was not necessarily. So it's important to understand that it's not only for people who have gone through war or through rape or who have been beaten by their parents or whatever. It doesn't need to be some very heavy life situation. Sometimes it's a small thing, but the nervous system, the way it has reacted, it went into the dorsal mode, because that's how the neuroception appeared at this point. The nervous system perceived it as a life and death situation, even though it was not. Okay. So we found ourselves today in a world when it's getting more and more difficult to activate the secure, at home, feel at peace mode of the nervous system. And we find a lot of people and situation where we activate the sympathetic nervous system or the dorsal vagal. And especially in the times of chronic stress, when we are always in the sympathetic mode, there is also a way that sometimes the dorsal activate because there is life and death situation, but sometimes it activates also because sympathetic has been used so much that at some point it's gone, it's too much. And then because of too much chronic stress, then the nervous system will go into dorsal vagal, because that's the only way he can find peace and regeneration. Because that's what happens actually when we separate the physical body and the pranic bodies. At least for some time, we leave the physical body at peace for a moment. We don't bring another stress onto it. And that's how biologically this dorsal vagal is activated, is a survival mode, that when the antelope, she was almost being eaten by the lion, if she generated more resources from the sympathetic system, that means she would activate even more the cardiac rhythm. She would activate even more the circulation of the blood flow and get even more sugar out of the reserves to run even faster, then she would die. That means if she would increase the speed even more, she would die. So the survival mode of the dorsal vagal is like, I put the off button of the machine. So you understand, if you have, like, you are in the image of a car, it's like we have the brake and we have the accelerator. The accelerator is the sympathetic system. The brake is the parasympathetic system in the mode of the ventral vagal. When we are secure, we are relaxed. We don't need to be too fast. We are at our own pace. We can regulate our own rhythm according to the situation around us. We are flexible and relaxed. That's the brake. Then, if in the situation of the antelope, she's full time, full speed on the accelerator, then at some point the survival mode will bring the handbrake. That's the dorsal vagal. It's when you use the handbrake and you're full acceleration, but at the same time you hold the brake. Okay, so that's how it goes. So we will explain later in the next episode how this relates specifically to trauma and how to heal them. But first today I want you to understand those 3 stages, which are 3 also stages of evolution of the nervous system. And the first one was the dorsal vagal, the second was the sympathetic nervous system, and the third one is the ventral vagal, the secure mode, which is our human part actually. The human part of our being is start to be really activated when we work and operate, we evolve in life from the ventral vagal. Okay, so that's part of the yogic process. The yogic process is, and we work a lot through the geometry of the body to trigger the different states of the nervous system, and through the breathing also. So we can learn to navigate into those different stages. When we are in the dorsal, to come back into the sympathetic, and from the sympathetic to go back into the ventral vagal, the secure mode. And the more we learn to make the connection between the two, the more we train our nervous system to make the connection, the less we have to live with the memory of a traumatic event and all those unprocessed energy in our nervous system. So the main work of yoga is to allow the memories of the nervous system to unlock, and to work a lot on the connection between the sympathetic system and the ventral vagal. Because that's when you need to, that's positive stress. You need the sympathetic when you want positive stress, you want things to be done, you want to be sharp, and you want to be reactive to a situation in your life. That you need whatever. If you fight, if you are in a car, whatever, you need at some specific situation, you need the activation of the sympathetic mode. So it's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. The thing is, once the threat is gone, or once the stress is gone, then you can regulate yourself and go back to the relaxed mode. And that allows you to be in relationship to whatever is in front of you, and not to the memory that you hold in your nervous system of the previous interaction or the previous situation you had 2 hours ago, or 2 days ago, 2 years ago, or 20 years ago. Or maybe even that your ancestors got 2,000 years ago. Okay, because that's all the memories we hold in our nervous system. So the whole purpose is to learn the regulation, to go from the sympathetic to the secure mode. Then from the secure mode, we learn to activate the sympathetic, so we create positive stress, and we will explain in another video how we can do that, so that this interaction is like the pathway is clear. It's activated most of the time. And the purpose then of the yoga is then when we can start to live and operate from the ventral vagal, then we want to extend this ventral vagal. It's like we want to extend the vagus nerve almost to infinity. Because the more we can extend the vagus, the more we can open our perception of life. The more our receptive self opens to different variations, different proposition of life. Okay, so that's how we can open our belief system. We can open our consciousness. We can open up to new dimensions of experience within ourselves. So actually, the path of yoga itself really starts when we start to operate from the ventral vagal. So most of the preparatory phases of yoga is actually to unlock the memories when we were into the dorsal, to bring back into circulation the fire, and then come back to a relaxed mode. And then extend through the more advanced part of the techniques of meditation. We extend the vagus nerve. That's the idea. Because you secrete different kinds of chemistry of your brain, the transmission and the quality of the chemicals that are secreted in your brain, in your blood flow is completely different in those 3 stages. Okay, and it's interesting that when you are in the ventral vagal, I told that the ventral vagal then governs the dorsal when you are into it. So you can also the part of the chemicals that are secreted when you are in the dorsal is the one that like drugs, because they numb you, like when you take opium or this kind of thing, the opiaceae. I don't know I will find the word in English, but like the family of the opium. Okay, it's like you feel like you are on the drugs because you shut down your system, so you numb yourself, so you can allow the situation. You can still survive in a very painful situation. But what happens is if you start to have access to the secretion of those chemicals from the ventral vagal, then that means you can consciously have access to the hormones that expand your consciousness. And that's why the yogis, they use some of the herbs. And sometimes you see the sadhus, they smoke kali weed, marijuana, because they stimulate certain part, they know how to stimulate certain part of the nervous system. And if you use them consciously, then you don't have, you unlock your sensitivity. It's completely the opposite of numbing yourself. So this is not a podcast to say you should smoke. It's exactly the opposite, because this is the idea, is to tell you that if you go into the vagus, the ventral vagus, you extend your vagus nerve, you don't have to take drugs, because the feeling good of the drugs will be secreted automatically by the expansion of your awareness. Your glandular system will completely change. Okay, so that's the whole idea. Understanding those 3 stages. I said a lot of things today, maybe too much. I don't know. If you have questions, ask them, and I can go into details and maybe repeat some things, clarify some elements. But that was the 3 main stages: the secure mode, the action mode of fight and flight, and the life and death situation of the freeze mode. There are 3 different landscapes, and we need to learn to navigate those landscapes, recognize them. So please, in your life, okay, already maybe when I started to talk about the 3 stages, maybe you could feel in your body those different stages activating. Maybe you can find situations of your life or certain relationship where one of the mode or the other is activated. Take notes of that, be aware of that. That's the first step. And then we will explain also how we can learn to navigate and how we can have tools to navigate into those different systems, stages. Okay, so I'll leave it here for today, and the next episode I think we'll talk about those 3 stages, how they come together in a traumatic event. But we said a lot already today, so I'll leave it to here. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much also for sharing this podcast. Now I've seen that 22 countries, people in 22 countries have access to this information. I think it's very precious. So thanks for your sharing. Thanks for talking about it to your friends and family if you feel inspired by it. And more and more also people are calling me for the coaching, because I welcome a few person a month to guide and heal people to learn to regulate the nervous system. So if you want to have any information about that, please don't hesitate to call me. We can have a one-to-one sharing, and I can explain you how I work. And if you are interested to dive into this process together. But already with the information you have here, you have a lot. Then I want to also make the yogic kriyas, the yogic exercises specific for each stage of the nervous system, more and more accessible in a very clear and precise manner. So that will be another step. of the unfolding of this work. Thanks a lot for being here and for listening. Satnam, have a nice day.